So in this video, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about what you'll do um, during reading of a new book and after the reading. Now, the goal for during the reading is for students to use the meaning and structure and visual information in an orchestrated way to read fluently and with comprehension. That's what you want. And so your job is to hold one-to-one conferences with the students and listen to them read orally while you're taking your anecdotal notes. So this is when you take your notes. A lot of teachers feel like they don't know when to do that, and that this is when you do it, when you're holding those one-to-one conferences. Now, what you're looking for in those one-to-one conferences is the student reading fluently? Are they using their word-solving strategies? What kinds of strategies are they using? Also, you can begin to check on comprehension through brief discussion. So you may stop them and ask them, what's happening so far? Tell me about what you think is going to happen. Predict this, just having those conversations with them. Now, one thing to think about, at a text level 18, they're beginning to really, decoding is not as big of an issue, maybe with the multisyllabic words, but for the most part, they're able to decode. But now we're wanting to build that deeper comprehension. And hopefully, over the years, that's what's been happening even through read alouds and so forth in kindergarten, first and seconds, to build that deep comprehension for students' understanding of text. But what you want to start thinking about is not that surface level comprehension, but how can we get students to start thinking at a deeper level? And so when you do have discussion, maybe in once the reading of the text is done, the discussion that you have with your students is more of becoming more of a hybrid of guided reading and a literature discussion, where the students are begin to discuss text with conversational moves and they're able to think at a deeper level. Now, sometimes level texts like these, it's hard to think at a deeper level because there's just not a lot to them. But it's it is good to get them to start thinking that way instead of asking those surface level questions. So once you have your one-to-one conference, when you're talking to them, you want to prompt them for them to think about the text, the meaning. You want to initiate problem solving strategies if that's something that maybe they're struggling with the word and so forth. So during your one-to-one conferencing, you're going to do that. But once the reading of the text is done, you want to be sure that you validate and activate any of the strategies that students are using. So if you saw good things that students did with their reading, you want to validate it. You want to praise them. You want to let them know that they used good strategies during their reading and and then and tell them what that was. So you want to definitely let them know what good they did. Then if you see anything that you need to activate, maybe there were some teaching points. Maybe they were struggling with multisyllabic words. Maybe they um, were struggling with, you know, any of the word calling strategies, decoding problems that you noticed, or maybe it was fluency. In the continuum, you can look at some of the things to look for when you are doing the one-to-one conferencing, because these are some things when they're solving words, thinking within text. Are they using word parts, using known words? Are they making connections between words by letters, sounds, or spelling patterns? Um, do they demonstrate knowledge of flexible ways to solve words? Are they noticing the parts? Are they noticing the endings, the prefixes? Can they break words down, a longer word, into 2 or 3 syllables? Those are things you want to check. Are they rereading? When they come to a point that they have maybe they're not sure about a word, do they self-correct? Do they do they self-correct for meaning? These are monitoring and correcting things that you may look for. Are they using multiple sources of information? This is when your running records become very useful. Are they monitoring? Are they looking at visual cues? Are they using meaning? Um, do they reread to confirm their word solving strategy? So let's say that they solved a word. Do they reread and then come back to it to confirm their other sources? Do they use known words to self-monitor and self-correct? So all of these things are very, very good things for you to look at as you um, do your conferencing with the students. Then, of course, here we've got our summarizing, maintaining fluency. You know, what is that? Think about the NAEP. You have to do the NAEP on the students. Are they a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4? You know, are they reading in larger phrases? Um, do they read the dialogue with phrasing and expression? Do they use their punctuation marks? Do they demonstrate the appropriate stress on words and phrases? So all these things are good things that you're going to use to write in your anecdotal notes, um, just to make sure that students are on the right track. Now, for your actual comprehension, like what you do after reading, not only do you validate and activate, but you also want to talk about the book. And that's the most important thing. That's what reading is all about, is the talking of the book, the discussion of the text. And you want to begin to have, you know, all of these things, the making connections, the synthesizing, inferring, analyzing, critiquing, all of these things are some things that you can really begin to have students talk about uh, when discussing the story. And so for me, you know, the story's not real deep, but one thing that I thought would be maybe a good thing is to this inferring, to infer cause and effect in influencing characters' feelings or underlying motives. Now, in this story in particular, she has no real motives like sinister motives, but one thing she does have is I think you know, she's very excited to show her friend the beach. You know, if you look at some of the dialogue, and that's another one, let's go back to this. It says, infer characters' feelings and motivations through reading their dialogue. So that might be something that we talk about too, because what I'm seeing from this character is where she's talking about going to the beach. Uh, Amelia knocked on her cousin's door. Get up, Maya. Now is the best time to go to the beach. Well, the little girl thinks it's too cold to go outside to go to the beach. Um, and so when you look, she's showing her all the different things, you know, telling her, Amelia's telling her this is sea glass, and she's really, you know, showing her the beach and all the things she knows. And look at the smile on her face. She's just so excited about it. Um, she found, you know, the round flat shell, and she keeps telling her. And Maya's asking her, well, what are these things? And Amelia's able to tell her this. So all of these things you can infer that she's excited to tell her friend, you know, her excitement sort of um, makes her friend excited about the beach as well. And you can talk about those types of things and those interactions with your friends and so forth. You know, and your dialogue, wow, that's cool. Um, you know, and then here at the end, they're talking, you know, they're getting together and you know, making their little bracelets with their sea glass. And look, you know, at the end, they're so excited and how She says, "What do you think of our beach?" I love it. Thanks for showing it to me. So just that interaction of this is her beach and she's showing it to her friend. That might be a good discussion that you could have with the students that can just talk about friendship and how you like to help your friend, kind of get it interested in some of the things that you're interested in and show them, when you feel ownership of something, how you want your friends to feel excited about it just like you do. So those are some good things that you could talk about just to go a little bit deeper because I want to show you this. Like in this is from our reading series. But here it's, what do they do first, next, and last? Do you see how it's just kind of, it's a sequence of events? It's very surface. It's not real in depth. Draw a picture of a beach. How do people have fun at the beach? What do they see? Well, that's just surface too. What did they see? They saw a hermit crab, they saw a starfish, but what's the story really about? It's about two friends sharing time together and a friend sharing her love of the beach with her friend. That's what it's really about. I mean, and maybe the students wouldn't think so, or maybe you don't think that. But that's the cool thing about reading is you're able to have those discussions. And that's the problem with books like this and the Basil series is that you're unable to really go deeper sometimes because of some of the surface level questions that you ask. And that's why our kids don't have deeper comprehension. Um, here it is. Tell the order in which things happen. Yes, we need to do that retelling checklist. We need to be able to do that. Nothing wrong with that. But when you're talking about text with your kids, really try to analyze and evaluate. And here you do have one strategy. It says tell how you feel about the text and why. And that's okay. You can tell about how you feel about the text and why, but I think just getting, here you've got your genre. Realistic fiction is a story that could happen in real life. But you know what? The thing about it is that whole idea of friendship and feeling like you have um, something to share with your friend and your motives. Your motives are true and you're excited about something and your dialogue shows that. Those are some things that, building on characters and if you're having a character study, this might be a little book that you could talk about and how they shared their sea glass. They made the little bracelets. They probably have a little friendship bracelet. So this is just going to get you a little bit deeper, and these continuums really help you do that. So that's the after reading. The next video is going to talk about what you do on the second day.